Hello, good evening, friends. John Henry Soto here, along with George Batista, either on this side or that side. Welcome to Counterparts. And tonight, I'm very excited because Mike Stanlaw is going to be on the show. He was on my show before, like when I was doing stuff in Bayonne, New Jersey. A great, knowledgeable dude about health and fitness. We're going to talk about his company. We're going to talk about his mission, his journey. Super excited to have him on the show. So just hang on tight, and we'll be right back. All right, and there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Stanlaw is going to be on the show. Actually, he's going to be on right now because we're going to bring him up, ladies and gentlemen. Because you know how I do, George. I just start yapping, and we want to get into some health and fitness and to some knowledge from Mr. Stanlaw. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mike Stanlaw.
Yes.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
All right. Good. Thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate it very much. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, man. So for me, it's interesting because when I was in Bayonne, New Jersey, I lived there 9 years, and I remember your first place on, I think it was, I want to say 29th
29th Street. Yep.
29th Street, 29th Broadway. And I remember going there numerous times, and just a great facility. And you know, the one thing that I always loved about it was the energy. You just had really great people around you all the time. And I know that always trickles from above, you know, but that was the main thing that for me was really, that really stood out for me. First question is, like, when you went into that endeavor, did you already have people that you knew you wanted to bring on?
I've always been big on vibes and energy and just the people you surround yourself with. And first of all, being in a fitness space, you have to surround yourself with the right people. You have to have that energy. You have to have that motivation from everybody around you. But just naturally, we found that a lot of our members are so not just motivated, but charismatic. You know, some of our team, I mean, they're all crazy, of course, because they're fitness instructors and they have to make everybody work. But I think we all bring the best out of each other in that respect. And although it's, you know, a very professional environment, we all have fun with it. You know, you got to take your health and fitness seriously, but man, if you can't laugh a little bit and have a good time, what's the point?
Exactly. Yeah, you guys always seem to be having a great time there. And I also liked the fact that you were also welcoming, like I was new, and I think I was new. And when did you open that?
We opened in 2015, which seems like forever ago, but it also seems like yesterday at the same time.
That's true, right?
Yeah, so 7 years now running.
Wow, because I got to Bayonne in 2012, so I was still, I guess, a couple of years in. But yeah, so you were just really nice and welcomed me in there, and it was really a great environment, like I mentioned. So George, you have a question? I know George,
yeah, just kind of piggybacking on that, because obviously if you're going into, you know, get trained, you're going in for that motivation. Obviously, you want to, you know, you want those folks to give you that motivation, because to me, and as a person who myself is in the health industry, right, health and fitness is a philosophy, right? It's you know, it's not just about, you know, working out. It's not just about the nutrition. It becomes a philosophy of life, if you think about it, because you can use that for a lot of other things, right? You know, it'll affect all the other aspects of your life. And, you know, so I think that, you know, having that person there to motivate you and to show you, hey, you can set goals and you can do all those things is extremely important, right? And so I wanted to ask you, because you had an interesting journey, because I know you also actually have a degree in social work, right? And so I know you were kind of going, you know, in a certain path, but at the same time you always had the health and fitness on this side as well, right?
Yeah, it was interesting. You know, I went to grad school for social work, and it was just ironic because I've always been into fitness. And, you know, one of the first thing they asked us in social work school when I was going for my master's, they said, what does everybody here do for themselves? Because whether you're going into this profession or any profession, you need something for that escape during the day. And I always said it was fitness. Now, when I was going for my master's, as much as I enjoyed social work and I wanted to do work with, teenagers in the high school, I was, conveniently working part-time as a personal trainer. And
Mm,
everybody said, "Oh man, that's so crazy how you're going to school and you're also working." And for me, I'm like, work, like I enjoy this,
right.
but for me, as much as I enjoyed the social work, I just loved and lived the personal training. The fitness just, sparked me. So when I got my master's degree, mom and dad said, it's great. What are you going to do? I'm going to open a fitness studio.
I was actually going to ask you how, was there support on that end?
You know what? Right away, and they know that when I kind of set my mind to something, they must have saw the look in my eye, and they took a deep breath and they said, if that's really what you want to do, they said, we're behind you. But
That's awesome.
also, I didn't just say it on a whim, like, hey, I think I'm going to open they knew I had a plan, I had a structure,
Mm,
I had a following and a clientele, that
right.
were saying Stanlaw Fitness before I even called the studio Stanlaw Fitness. Actually, I
Oh,
think it was originally coined by one of our members. One of my clients just said, "Hey, Stanlaw Fitness," back when I was at New York sports clubs.
wow.
So no matter what, a new business is always going to be a risk.
Yeah.
But my parents saw that there was just that look in my eye, like I'm going to make this happen, and then they supported me, thankfully.
That's awesome. You're also kind of revolutionizing the industry, because I worked at New York Sports Club too, and I was in that space for 18 years, working in different clubs through New York City. So I know that whole thing, but it's sort of like fitness clubs got like a bad rap, especially like places like New York Sports Club and Equinox and LA Fitness and 24-hour fitness. They just got a really bad rap for the monthly charges, getting double billed, getting trainers that are aggressive. It was just a bad, not, I don't want to say bad overall, but it was the running joke was always those kinds of things. And you managed to kind of, you were there, you saw, and I don't know how the New York Sports Club was, the one that you were at. I don't know if you were at the one in Bayonne. The
I
one in
was.
Bayonne was pretty good, I heard. So I heard it was pretty good. I don't know, I never went there, um but you were in that space where it's very corporate health. It's really different than that individual. So you're really revolutionizing it by doing the what you're doing there. How do you feel about that, coming from that space into the
I
way you?
mean, that's definitely a cool compliment, saying revolutionize. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, no.
And every business, every gym, every studio, there's always going to be its pluses and minuses. There's pros and cons to the big box gyms. There's pros and cons to the fitness studios. I just know that, no matter what gym I was in, no matter even now as a fitness studio, I just always wanted to know the customer. I never wanted to look at anybody as just up there, just a number, and they're helping our bottom line. For me, it's about the person. And I would always get a little angry at myself almost if I didn't know somebody's first name, and
Mm,
their goal. And because everybody has a story, everybody has an individual goal, which is why it's very hard to just say this person's looking for this goal, this person's looking for that goal. It's like everybody
right.
has a story. So for me, I think just doing my best to just connect with everybody, on a personal level. I mean, that being said, I also have it where, I'm on a texting basis with pretty much all of our members, which could be good or bad,
Right.
but it's made us successful. So I don't regret anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that personal touch that really elevates that that model of fitness. I think the big box gyms, the New York spot. I mean, one of the clubs I worked at, by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we would already see 1,200 members. So that's a lot of people. You know what I mean? I mean, there's just not enough trainers and attention to each individual member, that they're really getting the proper attention, that they're going to really see results. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and that's
So
cool. I mean, for the big box gyms, a lot of people that go in there that they're looking for trainers, and there are probably a big percentage of gym goers that just want that time for themselves. They
Right.
want to be left alone, which is fine too. You
Right.
know, some people go in and they don't want any kind of trainer. They don't even want to talk to
I
anybody,
want to talk to anybody.
which is great because I mean, you know,
And
you guys are both very busy. I know, you know, John, you do 1,000 things. So everybody needs that time for themselves to just kind of escape a little bit. Some people look at the gym as a social outlet. Some people just look at it as, hey, let me put my hat down. Let me put my headphones in.
yeah,
You know, the ones that I forgot today for
right.
our meeting
It
here.
sounds fine. It sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But to each their own. So I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, I got into it for the chicks, but
Whatever works. Hey,
but my wife wasn't happy about it. That was the main thing.
at least you're
George,
being honest about it.
Yeah. Did you when you actually really started to, you know, when you opened and you really started to get into that whole thing, were there any like obstacles that you really had to go beyond and really fight through to kind of get it going?
Yeah, I think like anything starting, any new business, any new venture, there were definitely obstacles. At the time when you're in it, it's hard to look at them as obstacles though,
Mhm.
because it's like you just have the vision and you want to make it work. And you're like, all
Right.
right, this is something I got to get through. I remember the first time sitting down with, you know, the realtor and with the accountant and with the lawyer. And, you know, I felt like the dumbest person at the table.
Right,
I didn't
right,
know what I was talking about, but I knew I wanted to make it work. And
right.
one of the things that I try to do is, you know, surround myself with people that either can teach me something or, you know, that are
Mhm.
smarter than me or force me to level up. And, you know, there was that. Of course, you know,
Mhm.
starting any new business, there's always that risk and financial
Right, right.
component of it. And the hardest spot was finding a space. You know, I
Okay.
feel like once I found a space, everything kind of came to it, you know. But
yeah,
other than that, obstacles, there's always going to be things that pop up. But I think as long as you want something bad enough, as cliche as it's going to sound, you
right.
find a way to make it work, or else you're just going to see them as obstacles and you're going to say, oh, this ain't for me. So
Right, exactly. And the second location that the one that you have now, it seemed like that one you really had your game up, like you were much more knowledgeable on what you were looking for. You were very, I was in a couple of when you were seeing the spaces, you really knew what you wanted. I would hear stories in the office about what, very, very intentional on. So it seemed like you did take that to heart and really gather it up as much information. So the next space, because you grew out of that space pretty quickly. I
yeah,
mean,
we grew out of the space. You know, there was also, you know, the landlord was looking to make it something else. He wanted to make it
oh, okay.
offices.
Uh,
So he said in the nicest way possible, you know,
Gotcha.
get out within the next 12 months. So we did have to find another space. Yeah, it was
Oh,
a little
okay.
bit of a painstaking process. I'm sure like any business trying to find a space, trying to,
Yeah.
especially for me, it was, you know, training clients 4:30 in the morning till 12. And then from 12 to 4 or till 5, I'd be working with, you know, the real estate agents and trying to find something and contractors and lawyers. And then, hey, like, you know, putting face back on, right back to training clients. But like anything, if you want it bad enough, you see these things as just, you know, hurdles to jump through a little bit and or jump over. Don't jump
Right.
through the hurdles. Yeah. And you make it happen. So now, you know, we're in our new spot, 3 years now, and we just have a great team and great
Three
members. And
years.
yeah,
Wow.
time flies. So
Man,
we're having fun, you know, working hard and having fun.
that's so awesome. I wanted to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about what you were saying about the obstacles and the, those kinds of things. Because, whenever you're doing something like this, you always run in not the physical barriers, right? Not the location, not the bank, not the, there's always psychological things. There's also mental, barriers. There's also energies from people that maybe don't have or maybe they're trying to protect you, but
Right.
they might be saying something that maybe is kind of hurtful in a way. Did you have to maneuver your way through certain elements like that as well?
Oh yeah. To this day, I'm very careful with who I let in because you know you'll meet a lot of different people,
Yeah.
right? And there's people that you want in your circle, and but you know there's also some that you just you either outgrow or you're just a little careful with who you speak to. And I don't want to sound overly pessimistic, but we've all been there before. Anything you're looking for, any major goal you're looking to hit, you're going to have your people, hey, don't do too much, don't work too hard, man, like how much are you going to do? How much are you going to, it's
Yeah,
like, but everybody they know what they can handle.
right.
John, I know you're a guy that does, 1,000 different things, and you're going to hear that too. So I think
Right.
whatever your own goal is, whether it's educational or whether it's starting a business or in your own career, you know what you can handle. And I think most people just really have to listen to themselves.
Right.
I've always done that. I have, my family who I consult with, and they all know I'm crazy, but they also know I'm never going to bite off more than I can chew, because it
Right.
wouldn't be fair to myself or or our customers. So
Yeah.
everybody knows what they can handle, but you have to have your own goals, and you have to be very selective with who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Very selective.
Absolutely. And my favorite is always don't overextend yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's
everybody
like,
knows what they can
man, what
do.
does that mean? I mean, but yeah, you're right. Cause I mean, you do have, and sometimes I look back at like when I was, especially when I was in Bayonne and I was doing a lot of different things. I look back and it's like people sometimes don't ask me to do things because they think I'm way too busy. But in actuality, if you want something done, you give it to a busy person. Someone that actually is doing stuff. So I always say, no, call me because I might be able to do it. I might be able to wing it. And if I can't, I would say I can't. But I think that's what you really have to do. And what you said earlier about you have to be careful who you let in. And I think that becomes a really, really dangerous part for not just entrepreneurs, but just artists, overall, anybody in business, anybody
Yeah.
actually.
And when you start a business, and I hope that this does help somebody out there that's either running a business or starting a business. I guess my main advice, and the best piece of advice to this day that I received, somebody told me, always check in with yourself before you start your day, because you have to make sure your headspace is good,
Yep.
because you're going to have a day where, yeah, this person's rubbing me the wrong way today, or what's wrong with this person. and
Yeah.
and if it turns out it's more than 3 or 4 people, it's
Oof.
probably you.
Right.
So I always, before I leave the house, check in with myself. And look, we all have our things that go on day to day, and you know
Sure.
um you just have to make sure you're in a good headspace, so you're better for not only yourself but for other people too, especially as a personal trainer.
Yep.
Nobody wants to have a cranky personal trainer that's in charge of making them do push-ups and sit-ups.
Right. Exactly.
Right, but I was going to say, like, those same principles that you said, checking in with yourself and doing all those things, then you can bring that to your personal training, right? Because I'm sure that when you work with your clients, that's the advice that you give them, and the
Yeah.
principles and on the motivation to help them do the same thing, right?
I do, because they come in and everybody has their own fitness goals. Like, some people want to build the strength. Some people want to lose in tone. That's a big one.
Mhm.
But everybody carries their own stress from the day. We have our crew that comes in 5, 6 o'clock in the morning before they're about to start their day. And what are they talking about? I have a long day ahead of me. And then we have our people 5, 6 p.m. They come in, and what are they talking about? This was a stressful day. So
Right.
in my mind, I love what I do, but I'm there for them.
Right.
So this
Right.
might be the best part of their day.
Right.
This is where they get to unload. And some of them apologize. Oh, I'm sorry for complaining so much. I said, look, maybe you have nobody to talk to all day about this. So in addition to making sure you're, going all the way down and squatting and, sweating and maybe cursing me out a little bit, we want to make sure that you're getting your stress out. So you're just,
Right.
a better all
Yeah.
functional human being.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think it's also important for them to know that you have also things going on, like you're
Mhm.
running this business, but you're there for them, not only in the fitness, but it's almost like being sort of like their psychologists in a sense, their therapists, because they're coming to you probably to decompress physically, but also emotionally and spiritually. And this is a place where they kind of like this is their 1 hour that they have, that it's really dedicated to them. it's really for them. It's really not a meeting that you're taking for something. It's not having dinner with the family. It's really just for the individual to really be able to improve their
I
lot. And I
made
think
sure that especially when I started the studio, that I made sure I looked at it that way, that you have to treat every single client like they're your only client. And
Mhm.
there's going to be times where, of course, I'm human like everybody else, where, oh man, I know I have 20 people to train today, but I always have to recenter myself and say, look, this might be the most important half hour of their day. You
Mhm.
have to make it the best workout they've had. You might have to make this the best experience they've had all day. And people are smart, that they pick up on it, that they could see when you're giving them that attention, and that's really what I hope I convey to every client. Because I mean, the truth is, I do have fun with my clients. I enjoy pushing them, but at the same time, I enjoy the social interaction,
Yeah.
during, not to go off on a tangent, but in pandemic, when, we didn't have as much of that social interaction,
Yeah.
it was tough, not just for
Yeah.
my clients, but for myself too. I enjoy
Yeah.
mixing it up with people. That's why I'm talking with you guys tonight, hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
humanity needs
yeah.
interaction. That's what we're here for, is
Yeah.
to interact with one another. I wanted to ask you, how do you convey that to your staff? Because you're the source, you're the guy, but it's different when you bring somebody in who is working there. They may have the same passion and the fitness goals and want to help as well, but it's a little bit of a different. How do you convey that to make sure that they understand that they can't. I used to do that when I managed staff, so I would make sure that they knew that, especially the front desk, was when that person comes in to check in, if you're in a discussion and you're upset about something, stop talking, because that person, you don't know what they just went through. They're coming in here to work out, and the last thing they want to see is now another dramatic thing in front of them. We don't know what they've been through. So I was always very, very emphatic about that, and making sure that, listen, you can't do that. Is that something that you have to? I mean, I know you got great staff there, because I know some of them, and you just know how to bring people in. How does that work for you? Do you have a training? Do you
Well,
a
thank
whip?
you. The best thing that I learned from one of my fitness managers a long time ago, back when I was at Bally Total Fitness. I
Bally's?
remember
Wow.
Bally's,
Bally
wow.
Total
I
Fitness.
remember
Yeah.
that.
Damn,
Yeah.
going way back. They're
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
around, I think.
And yeah, I think I don't know if there's any more locations of
Really? I
Bally's
thought they were
anymore.
still around somewhere.
I'm sure there's a few.
Yeah.
And he said to me, you just have to make sure you lead by example. And something I've even been doing recently is just picking up on any little, maybe subconscious behavior I might have, because one way or another, that's going to convey to the people that work with you.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And I'm big on energy and feeding off of energy, and yeah, I don't like micromanaging people. People don't
Right.
need that.
Right.
It's insulting intelligence sometimes, but at the same time, we're all good with giving each other feedback, making sure that we push each other, motivate each other, and yes, we try to leave our drama at the door. That being said, I tell the team that if you guys need to talk, I'm here for you. There is a weight room that you can take your stress out. And that's why I try to really push the team to work out every day,
Yeah.
because, of course, we all want to look the part and be in shape. That's important. But, for their mental health, and if they're going to feel better about themselves, they're going to be better for their clients. So,
Yeah.
but I think that all always starts with, I try to start that with myself, where try to lead by example. I'm not perfect, but I'm learning every day, and I learn things from the team too, which is awesome.
Great.
Great. How do you handle, and I'm sure probably your social work training comes into it, kind of dealing with clients who, let's say, they come in with their own goals, and they're not hitting those goals as fast as they want to hit them. How do you approach helping them, trying to see the long-term goal, and keeping them motivated through that process?
That's a great question, and I know with nutrition, you've
Yeah.
dealt with this before
Yes,
too.
absolutely. Absolutely.
George
It's
deals with that.
still something that, if I had to say that there was a part that I personally struggle with, that would be it. Because
Mhm.
you know what? I know we have great workouts, and like I said, had fun with these people.
Right.
And they like getting their cardio in and the classes and the training. But, Friday, Saturday, Sunday rolls around.
Mhm.
I can't follow people around
Right.
smacking food out of their hands. That's frowned upon.
Exactly.
As
You get
per
extra charge for that.
Yeah, that
Right.
might be an issue. Yeah. Not good for the look or anything. But that is the hardest thing,
Yeah.
because there's, emotional eating, boredom eating, stress
Yeah.
eating. And just, I mean, let's be real, eating and drinking, if that's your thing, it is enjoyable. So to
Yeah.
this day, it's a person to person basis.
Mhm.
I'm really trying to find a way to, that's the thing. You can't make this a cookie cutter thing with everybody.
Right.
Exactly. It's it really is. And again, I worked one-on-one with a lot of people, and it is an ongoing struggle, because you get for me, you would get a certain percentage that would do it, but then you would get a certain percentage that would fall off, or they would cycle in and out, and they would come back, and then it's like, but then they go on their binge and do their thing, and you're sitting there scratching your head like, you want to try to motivate, but in the back of your mind, you're like, you're not seeing it.
The
Yeah,
good
and it's
yeah.
definitely good.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely challenging where it depends. Listen, person to person, you don't need to have shredded six-pack abs.
Right.
All right. If
Exactly.
that's somebody's goal, then I'm going to try to help them, saying, listen, you can't do this. Cheeseburgers usually don't go well with six-pack abs, but
Absolutely.
the most important thing is that people are healthy. And
Yeah.
as long as they're
Right.
staying healthy, and they could come up with some kind of balance where they could still stay fit and still exercise and still enjoy, I stopped calling it a cheat meal. I call it a treat meal. They
Mhm.
can enjoy a treat meal or two every single week. That being said, if, you know, George, you're coming to me saying, I want to be ripped and shredded, then we're going to have to say, okay, these things are not going to fly. So
Right.
Absolutely.
it all depends on the person, but the weekends and the eating and the drinking,
Yeah.
it's a struggle for people.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
Now, I was going to say, and I'll ask both of you, because isn't it difficult just because of the preparation of food? Like good quality food is just such a challenge to get. Like we get our good quality food. We cook. I do most of the cooking. We go out maybe once a week, if even that. But it's when people coming back on a Friday, like you said, at Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, man, the last thing they want to do is meal prep. They want to just go out and they want to eat. So, like, what would you say? And Mike, you can go first, and George, I'll ask you second. What would you say if somebody goes out to a restaurant? Like, okay, it's Friday night. Don't forget tomorrow. Jose and Rosa, they're having their dinner thing for their next thing, and you have to come. All right, and they're gonna pay for the food, and you got to go. Now you got to
I
go.
was gonna say, George, you could take this one first, but my, my best advice is you have
Don't
to stay
go.
ready for situations like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you eat right for the most part, and you do your cardio and you do your weight training consistently, then things like that back to back, they're really not going to affect you that much. And if you are having events back to back to back, that's when portion control is going to be important.
Mhm.
That's when controlling yourself is going to be important. But like anything else, people get swept up in the moment,
Yeah.
Right.
and just bad decisions that end up happening. But some people, and it's personality too. Some people,
Right.
myself, I'm an all or nothing person. Some people can moderate things. I envy that.
Right. Right. Right.
But everybody's different. I'm curious to your input, George.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because, and I even look at myself, because I tend to be, I'm a little bit similar to you, like an all or nothing. I'm very disciplined in my, even when I'm going out, or I know I'm going to be at a restaurant or a party or whatever. I'm already planning in my head. Okay, what am I going to eat? If I'm going to a barbecue, do I have to bring something? Right? Are they going to have stuff for me there, or do I have to bring my own food? And sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll bring, if they have, if they're going to be serving cheeseburgers, maybe I'll bring a turkey burger, or I'll bring a veggie burger or something like that. Please, can you put this on? So that's one of the ideas I give people about pre-planning, as far as, like, at a barbecue or something like that. But also just you know, if you're going to be out at a restaurant or something like that, you do have to be cognizant of, you know, this is where the discipline comes in, you know, because the bread comes on the table and it's the first thing you want to do is attack the bread, right? And you know, you're starving and everybody else is attacking the bread, you know, and that's where you have to kind of stay back a little bit and say, okay, do I really, you know?
I think there's a science behind it, like why they put the bread out first.
Yes, yeah,
Oh man,
yes.
that's such a that's
It
such a trap.
triggers something in the
It,
brain.
it does.
Much,
It does. Absolutely. But there, you know, so there is that. And one of the things, like when I've worked with people, one of my things was planning ahead. One of my programs was helping people plan ahead in those situations. And I've even told people, listen, if you feel like if you're not sure, you know, text me or email me or something, because I'm always available and say, hey, what should I do in this situation? You know, should I have this or this? You know, and I've had people actually ask me, you know, is this better than this? Is this better than that? That type of thing. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. It's a whole psychology behind it. But yeah, it's not easy.
What's a shame, and you know, I would challenge anybody that's listening to this right now. You know, I did tell all of our members about this tonight that I hope they're listening. Not being afraid to say no.
Right.
When you're out, say, you know, no, I'm trying to get in shape. The sad thing is the amount of resistance that you get met with when you tell somebody like, no, I'm not going to have a drink.
Such an
Not going to have a
insult.
cheeseburger. You are an outcast
Right.
immediately.
Yeah. And
Like
the first thing they say is,
like,
oh, come on, just one. It's not going to hurt you. Come on. You know, that's
come on, you're out. Have fun. You know, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I respect people that can say like, no, I have a goal.
Yeah.
I'm still going to have a good time.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be a jerk about it, but you know,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna stay on my goal. That's it.
I went to we were doing an event at I can't remember where it was. It was a little place, McFadden's. Do you remember McFadden's? It was like on 20 something street.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's there anymore, but we did an event there, like a Halloween event. And I remember I was setting up and I was kind of doing the thing. And I'm walking in and the bartender is like, hey, John, you know, you want a drink? And I'm like, oh, no, I don't drink. And I swear to God, he like stared at me for like 5 seconds straight. He's like, and he's like, you don't drink? And I was like, no, I don't drink. You sure? I was like, yeah, I don't drink. You know, like I'll have wine, you know, with you know, if I'm going out somewhere and they have a glass of wine or something, and I'll be, oh yeah, I'll do a glass of wine. But I don't drink like that. And it was just a weird kind of thing. And they're like, come on, just one, you know. And the other guy was like, come on, John, just one. You're out. You know, you're doing this big event, man. You know, just have a drink. But yeah, the pressure on that, especially, and it's way more with food. I mean, there we're talking about something else, but with food, it's just very, and it's a, you know, it's a cultural thing to when someone offers you food, you know, you say yes. You know, I mean, in some cultures, I think if you say no, you know, you insult them.
Yeah.
Insult if you don't eat their
Listen,
food.
my wife is 100% Italian, and it took
Oof.
her family a long time to see like, okay, he's on a specific plan right now.
Yeah.
You know, but I had some, you know, it's not disrespect. You know, they understand it now.
Yeah.
And also the best thing I could just tell somebody is just, you know, be true to yourself. You know, for example, my wife, she has never drank, you know, maybe a sip of things here and there. And she always said, you know, I feel a little weird because I don't drink it. I said, look, that's who you are.
Right.
And the same thing, even though some people might think differently, but, you know, I don't judge. If somebody wants to go out, eat, drink, from a trainer perspective, from a human perspective, I don't judge it. It's your choice. But at the same time, just you got to be yourself, you know, but at the same time, it's for your health. So if you know that your blood pressure is an issue, if you know that your weight is an issue, if you know that this is something you have to fix, then it's time to step up.
That's exactly what I was gonna go to next, because I'm sure you run into this, because I ran into this, right? All of a sudden they come from the doctor's office and there's something going on. Then all of a sudden that becomes the great motivator, right? Because then, now I got to drop the soda. Now I got to drop this and that, right? I was like, okay, but where were you before when, you know, I was saying you should have done this. Yeah, when we were talking 6 months ago about doing it.
Right.
Yeah, and my client Dawn actually posted something the other day, and it was something along the lines of, you don't change until you become sick and tired of your own BS. And I thought that was 100% true about
spot on.
Yes.
getting fired up enough, like some kind of trigger, and everybody has it.
Yeah.
John, you mentioned when you started, it was about the girls, and listen, if that's your motivator, then so be it. But at least
Whatever.
you're being honest about it, and I'm sure it
It was not. That was just a joke, but okay.
Oh, okay. Well, it's whatever it is. And I'm
Because
sure
all the girls went to
people
me.
is.
That's why.
Yeah, George took all the girls.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got the cowboy hat now and everything too.
That's right.
I know.
Right?
He got the look.
Yeah,
He
you get
has the
one.
look.
Yeah, and some people have something that scares them half to death, and that they finally want to get started with it, and
Yeah.
it lights enough of a fire. So we had somebody just a couple of weeks ago, and I rarely get aggressive when it comes to signing up, and we're a very like no pressure studio, because I've never liked that. It makes me uncomfortable, it makes them uncomfortable. But the man came in and talked about his blood pressure, and I said, you have to do this. Like, this is super important, because he was telling me how he's scared about his blood pressure. And, for probably one of the first times, I got a little more on the aggressive side. I said, like, we have to help you. Like, I want to help you. But it came from a place of caring. It
Yeah, I
didn't
was
come
gonna
from
say.
a place of,
Yeah.
you have to sign up and this and that.
Yeah, it's definitely because you care, and especially when you're seeing it and what can happen if this is not handled. And some people are also, they let it go, like George said, 6 months go by, a year goes by, 2 years, 5, 10 years goes by of abuse. And how do you explain, Mike, to someone that's been abusing their body for a long time, that it's gonna take them, it could take them a couple of years to really get to a place where they envision themselves. It's not just about, it's a lifestyle change when they've done that much damage to their body.
It is a lifestyle change, and you really hit the nail on the head with that. It's not just a quick fix. It's not 6 to 8 weeks of the watermelon diet, or whatever
Yum.
they have nowadays. But it's staying consistent. It's making sure that your good habits outweigh the bad ones, and it's allowing yourself to be human, and knowing that, hey, like, you're gonna mess up here and there. You're gonna slip up. We all do. But you get back on the wagon the next day, and you make it a lifestyle. And more importantly than anything else, you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy the kind of workouts that you do. There are many healthy food options. I'm not the, I know nutrition, but I'm not the expert with nutrition. My nutritional advice has, as our members put it, has been very bland and boring. I'll say, eat your chicken and your eggs and your oatmeal and be happy about it. I'm not very good with variety with nutrition. I'll admit that, but there are ways to make people work. We have a trainer, Tracy, right now, who really is starting to tap into her niche of the macronutrients and counting. And she's able to connect with people in the way that I really haven't been able to lately with nutrition. So I'm sure, George, you've had your own approach with it.
Yep.
But you have to, chicken and broccoli doesn't work for everybody.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Wanted to get a little more technical with you. So like training in general, as far as, there's always this kind of push and pull in the fitness industry, like long distance cardio training versus like burst training versus, just weightlifting. I've always been a guy who's preferred, like I was always a weightlifting and yoga guy. That was kind of where my, I was never a cardio, even though now that I'm getting older, I've gotten more into cardio now, but I was never really a cardio person. But what's your personal opinions on, like, different types of trainings, and is one better than the other?
There's so much out there nowadays. There's so much information between strength training and high intensity interval training for cardio, and the crazy things you see on Instagram now.
Yeah.
That was never, obviously, never a thing before. But now with things like Instagram, I'll have some of my clients, even some of my older clients in their 60s, DMing me, what do you think about this that this guy's doing? And some of it's good, some of it's not. But I think there always needs to be the basics. I think and I'm generalizing here, but regardless of somebody's goal, 3 times a week strength training, push, pull, legs.
Right.
I always think that's more of like an athlete's way of training. But, there's always ways of splitting it up. On one day, you do your back and chests. Another day, you do your arms. Legs should always have their own separate day because it's a miserable experience. But
Yeah. Oh yeah. We remember that.
there's that. And then there's, I know, leg day. And then at the same time with your cardio, there's steady state, which I think everybody should be doing at least 3 times a week. High intensity interval training, I think that's for, it definitely burns more body fat, or at least studies have shown it if you do it right. And it also breaks up the monotony, because so many people tell me, I can't stand the monotony of the treadmill. I
Right.
can't stand the monotony of just, even going for a walk. So high intensity interval training definitely mixes it up. It doesn't take as long, but the key word is intensity. It has to
Yeah.
be more difficult. But if anybody's, for anybody that's listening to this and they're either just getting started, I would just say 3 times a week strength training, really should never be more than 4 or 5 with all the different splits you can do.
Yeah.
And with cardio, I mean, you could do cardio every day. It's just a matter of high intensity versus low intensity. At the
Right.
very minimum, everybody should go for a 30-minute walk every day. And then on
Yes.
top of that, get your high intensity interval training in. But you're right. There's so many different ways of training now. As long as you're staying active at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Now, isn't it also body type? Like, do you go into, like, there's certain people that really their bodies just respond better to certain things, even certain foods. They just can't handle certain foods. Some stuff they can do. That becomes a challenge too when or I guess it's because the way you do it, it's in an individual basis, right? I mean, everyone, where they're coming from, but because, like you said, there's so much information out there. And you got Twitter doing. I saw a guy who was doing pull-ups with another bench strapped to his body.
I saw that.
Did you see that one?
I did see that.
I was like, wait, you couldn't find a weight? But
It's eye-catching.
it was interesting.
Yeah.
It got a lot of hits. But my point on that is that there's so much stuff out there that people can be even more overwhelmed.
Yeah.
With how much information and what they should be doing, so a facility like yours is actually even more important, to make sure that you can actually get someone and tell them, okay, the guy with the bench strapped to him, that was nice, but we're not going to do that, and all these other
I won't
things.
tell anybody about your workouts, John. That's all right.
I got my bench right here.
All confidential here, right? That's just,
He has
So,
people holding on to him while he's doing.
heard about that. Yeah, secrets.
somebody's like this. I'm just doing it on here.
Yeah,
On
goals.
Lee Haney's arm. But
Lee Haney.
yeah. So I mean, is that something that you have to almost be like, okay, because it's just so much. People, we're just bombarded with so much stuff. George, you too. You get how much nutrition stuff are people saying this is good, that's good, no, that's good, no, this is good, no, eat this, eat that.
Exactly. And I know you've gone to, like, for me, because one of my expertise is supplements, right? So I have people constantly, did you see that new supplement on TV? Did you see this one? Did you see it? And
Yeah.
I'm like, here we go. And it's like, or you recommend a supplement to them, and then they take it for a month, but then as soon as they see something on TV, it's like they drop that and they run to that. And
I'm
like,
on Slim Fast.
Yeah, exactly, or whatever the case may be. Now,
Which
again, I'm sure.
workout do I take? Yeah.
Right, exactly. But I'm sure you see that as far as the training aspect, right?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. I was fortunate that when I was, I'm 35. When I was a teenager, I remember, in addition to my dad showing me the basics, it was Bill Pearl's book, Getting Stronger. Bill Pearl, and it was like just the basic exercises, and then I read Arnold's encyclopedia, and I was like, does he really do this much stuff? But even then, I feel like it was more simplified. Nowadays, it's kind of hard to see, where to start, and you get overwhelmed when you see, like, people want this instant gratification. Nothing is going to come overnight. So you have to. I'm a believer of sticking with the basics. You can't get to that crazy level until you learn your basic barbell squat, your basic deadlift, your basic bench press, learning the dumbbells. And there's so many cool modalities nowadays. And I'm not one to shut things out and saying, back when it was just the weights. Like, no, listen, if people like the Peloton, if they like the mirror tonal, I'm all in favor as long as people are moving. But
Right.
I think you do have to start with the basics and then build up to it. And it is the same with nutrition.
Mhm.
You can't go into calculus before, learning algebra,
Right.
Right.
unless you're, Goodwill Hunting, but that's
Right.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that there's just so much out there that that sometimes it can get overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
And that's what is good about what I'm fortunate enough to do with the personal training is
right.
that I like when somebody comes to me and they're kind of like a blank slate and they're asking,
Yeah.
and I always say, hey, this is what's worked for me. These are the basics, and then to see them, be coachable and learn as they go. And,
Yeah.
Is the way that I do it the perfect way? No, it's not.
Mm.
But at the same time, I'm fortunate enough to show people the basics so they could build
Right.
upon that.
Yeah, the basic form of how to do these exercises is super important because you can get hurt with
Right.
whatever you're doing. So you have to really know what you're doing just on
Yeah.
the basics.
And for me, one of the coolest feelings is when I see the classes going on, or I see the members in the studio and they're controlling their negative reps. Like if you're doing a bicep curl on the way down and they're taking 3 to 4 seconds to control that negative. They're
Right.
bringing it up,
Not
contracting,
dropping
instead of
it.
just
Yeah.
swinging back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So we're at we're at already almost 46.
Amazing. This is flying
Time
by.
fly-
Oh, this
fly
wasn't
by.
just the warm up of our
I
session.
know, right?
It's
Yeah.
all
Okay,
night.
we're about to start the show.
Yeah, I thought this was the warm up.
So actually, before we wrap up, I want to actually, like I said before, a lot of people that watch this show watch it because we have, things that I hate to use the word motivation because that's been so overused, but something that really guides someone in a proper way where they feel like that's a path that they can take. So someone out there right now that's having a fitness, thinking about fitness, they're thinking about doing something for themselves, for their bodies. What advice do you have for someone that's never ever joined a gym before or any kind of training at all?
Just be honest with yourself and know why you want to start, if you do want to start. And then just know that the fun part is that when you do start, you're going to see results right away. It's
Mhm.
people that are doing it for a long time that you really need to change things, but you'll see results instantly. But make sure you know why you're doing it, and just know that fitness carries over to every other aspect of your
Mhm.
life. It's
Right.
not just about, looking good in the mirror and for your dates, even though that's cool too. At the same time, it carries over to everything. I've seen people that take pride in their fitness and their physical progress and what they do, how it just carries over into their work, into their personal relationships, into their stress relief, into just how they handle their finances, everything. It's I'm a big believer, how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's just good for self-care at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think you hit it there with the why. I think the biggest thing is the why, whether it's fitness, nutrition, or whatever aspect of your life. You should start with that why. Why do I want to do this? Whatever that reason is, because that why is going to get you out of bed in the morning to train, to eat well, to balance your finances or whatever it is. And so I always say start there, and I'm sure, like I said, you do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of the best books I've ever read. Simon Sinek, Start with
Yes,
Why.
start with why.
Simon
Yep.
Sinek,
You
yeah.
know, I knew George and I would have the same taste in
Yes,
books.
Yeah,
absolutely.
By
Yeah,
Grant
definitely.
Cardone back there.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah. Well, I would say like my wife, for instance, the reason why I kind of eat well and work out is because, I got, I had kids older, in my life, and I have a 5-year-old, 5-year-old son. So for me, that's, I need to keep up with him. It's like really challenging as, I'm 53 years old. So for me, it's like challenging to kind of like chase a 5-year-old. So I have to stay in shape or else I'm just going to be dropped on the ground. But
And you just said it. You said you have to stay in shape.
I have
You
to,
have
yeah.
to.
I have
Yeah,
to.
So
My
you
why.
will.
It's like, and I
Absolutely.
want to because it makes me feel good, and I could also keep up with him. You know what I mean? I can actually do stuff, and I'm not the old guy going,
Right,
hopefully
exactly.
I don't want to be that dude. I want to be 70 years old, 75 years old, and still have energy and still be able to,
Mhm.
do stuff, and maybe have more kids then. I'm just kidding. But
Never know. You never know.
You know what I mean? But I think your client, I believe you said her name was Dawn, I believe, that her post, I think her post said it all. You know, when you get to the point where you're just tired of your own crap and you're just like, man, I got to do something. You know,
Everybody has a switch. Everybody has a switch that lights that fire.
Absolutely. So if you're out there right now and that switch has been lit, StanlawFitness.com right there. Reach out to them and get started because it's really important. Mike, I want to give you an opportunity to let us know what you're currently working on. Do you have any announcements of anything, and where can people find you? Obviously, your site is on the page there. And any last words, of encouragement for the audience?
Yeah, right now, just honestly, just working on being our best for our members, and not even just for our members, but we have a lot of followers on social media, or just anybody that we're fortunate to come in contact with, to be able to help them. Just wrapped up an amazing TEDx talk, which I was absolutely honored to be a part of. That Carissa Lintow and Max Sokolov put together. It's just honored to be a part of that. Talk about exercise and self-care. But other than that, like I said, if anybody's listening, we'd be happy to help if you're interested, whether or not you want to join the studio or not. I try to help whoever I can, because I'm very fortunate enough to be in this position to help people. And I consider it my why and my purpose every day. So get your 30, as we say, 30 minutes of physical activity every single day.
Sweet. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you being on. Don't go away. Hang on right there for 1 second while we're just going to wrap up the show. But everybody, Mike Stanlaw.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
See? That's what we're talking about.
That's it.
That's what we're talking about. That's like the exact purpose of why we do this show, is to help people and to give people these kinds of answers and motivation to really keep going. I mean, that's, to me, is the most important thing. So thank you, Mike, for being on. And he has to come back because we kind of like flew by. And I think there was a lot. I wanted to talk about the TED Talk, and I wanted to talk about that preparation. So he's got to come back. But anyway, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'll see you all again next week. Actually, no, we have a show coming up on Thursday, right? We have a special show.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
We'll be back on Thursday live, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll see you on Thursday night. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And as always, peace.